Night falls, and after a long work or academic day, in the solitude of your room, you decide to lie down, turn on your phone, and watch some entertainment content. Minutes later, you find yourself immersed in an endless list of increasingly erotic and explicit videos. You enter a trance-like state, lose track of time, and eventually regret having opened that page you had promised never to visit again. Flooded with feelings of misery and disgust toward yourself, you finally decide to go to sleep. Upon waking, almost automatically, the first thing you do is check your phone notifications. You get distracted in the process, once again scrolling through an endless stream of entertainment videos. Without realizing it, you've lost 45 minutes of your life-consuming content you'll never remember. You've developed an addiction. In this video, I present to you how to overcome addictions. Addiction is man's worst enemy. Plutarch once said that a few vices are enough to darken many virtues. The word vice comes from the Latin vitium, which means defect. Over time, the word was adopted to refer to the moral defects of being, such as lying, hating, seeking revenge, or coveting. For the Stoics, vice is the carnal desire to prolong pleasure. It is the opposite of virtue. No virtuous man's reason is continually clouded by the immoral desires of his body. Amoral, because the body does not discern between right and wrong. It merely craves the sensory experience of stimuli. According to the Stoics, he who lacks self-control is dominated by the desires of his body, inevitably falling into vice. For Christians, on the other hand, vice is the inclination of our sinful nature, the tendency toward all that is opposed to the divine, lust, greed, gluttony, envy. As Paul wrote in his letter to the Romans, "I do not understand what I do, for what I want to do, I do not do, but what I hate, I do." For no one in their right mind considers vice an instrument to reach virtue, divinity, or excellence. No one in their right mind would consider pornography a worthy pursuit. To give in to vice, passion, and bodily temptation is to return temporarily to our animal side, to momentarily strip ourselves of reason, the very quality that makes us human. It is to act on impulse, prioritizing momentary pleasure over true purpose. It is to briefly abandon our freedom of action, for if we are not the ones choosing vice voluntarily, then we are being ruled by a greater force. Ultimately, to give in to vice is to disrespect oneself. It is the absence of self-love. For when you love someone, you do not persuade them to do something harmful. On the contrary, you deliberately choose to preserve their well-being and integrity. The equation is simple. The more love you have for yourself, the fewer decisions you'll make that contaminate your soul. The less love you have for yourself, the greater the number of decisions that will destroy your being. The quality of your life depends strictly on the quality of the decisions you make in the continuous present. It's useless to think about quitting your vice in the future. Virtue is a continuous choice in the here and now, not in what has been, nor what will be. But how can one quit vice? The first and most important step is recognition. Carl Jung once said that nothing can be changed until it is accepted. You can't expect to win a war if you don't know what you're fighting against. It's imperative to know your enemy in order to fight and emerge victorious. It's difficult to admit that we live under the tyranny of our passions. We avoid taking responsibility for our actions to protect our pride. As human beings, we despise the idea of being wrong. Yet, recognizing that we are enslaved by a vice is the first step in battling it. Tonight, if you have the courage to face reality, you can disconnect from all technology, sit on your bed, and take a few minutes to reflect. What are my weaknesses? What are my vices? What is keeping me from growing as a human being? What is taking me away from virtue? The curious thing is that right now, you've already thought of something you need to work on, something you despise and want to change. The second step is to accept that vices do not disappear overnight. You must accept that you're about to embark on a path where strong storms will test your character, your courage, your bravery, and your self-control. Seneca said that the strongest man is he who masters himself. Don't expect to eradicate your vices tonight. They will always hover around your life like crows circling a corpse. In moments of weakness, frustration, or discouragement, they will attack your mind with seductive temptations. That's why abandoning vice is a feat only the strong in heart and spirit can achieve. Therefore, once you've recognized your vice, you can either cowardly let yourself be consumed by it until you fall into deep regret and inescapable depression. You can choose to become a man of excellence and face the challenges that this decision brings. It is better to be remembered as brave than as a coward. The third step is to set a difficult but achievable goal. Ideally, you'd quit immediately and radically. However, on the path toward virtue, it is understandable and acceptable to stumble and rise again. Making a mistake doesn't mean you're incapable of achieving your goals. On the contrary, it shows you have the courage to face the darkness that most avoid. When you achieve a difficult but attainable goal, you feel capable of achieving it again, or even increasing its difficulty. As you raise the bar of your goals, you not only grow as a person but also develop character. You begin to know your limits, understand your behaviors, your weaknesses, your attitudes, your abilities. You mature, you move closer to excellence. Remember, excellence does not arise from vice, it arises from the battle against it. Excellence, then, is a habit, as Aristotle once said. The fourth step is to never lose sight of the main goal. You will fall, you will rise, you will question yourself. You will despair, you will get angry. You will rejoice, you will want to give up. You will feel motivated, you will feel sad, you will feel proud. You will experience a wide range of emotions, both positive and negative. All of this is part of the path toward virtue. But if you lose sight of your goal, you'll fall back into the exhausting cycle of temptation, gratification, and regret. That's why it's imperative to keep in mind the objective of becoming a man stronger than his desires. Only through the genuine desire to be a better man will you find enough reasons not to give in to vice. For if you truly love yourself, you will choose to cut from the root everything that prevents your growth. Otherwise, you'll find ways to lie to yourself, to convince yourself there are no vices to eliminate. You'll build facades around your story to avoid reality, and eventually you'll come face to face with your own inner death, existing without truly living. As Carl Jung said, a life not lived is a disease from which one can die. Acknowledge your shadow. Accept it, face it, integrate it with defined purpose. Seek virtue, seek excellence, build yourself into a man of honor. Let your life be an example to follow. Live in peace with who you are and what you do. Be a man who does not bow before his vices, a man prepared for war, yet always seeking lasting peace. I invite you to seek the way, the truth,